Hey guys, this is Steven and Jim and Marc from XXIIBrands, and this is a little intro video for us to kind of discuss what's behind the name of XXIIBrands. So I want you to take this discussion away.
Perfect.
First and foremost.
All right. Well, we had a couple of years of growth that we experienced, and I think what was interesting to us as we set out as Social 180 with our original name is that we did have an intent to focus a lot on social media because we felt like it was a very disruptive force in the marketplace, something that business owners and business practitioners were struggling with, how to make sense of it, how do you leverage it, all those things were abounding. And so as we set out, we did have a pretty square focus on social media. And over time, over the past couple of years of growth, clients really began to push us out of that comfort zone and asked us to do more. And as we did more, then we met new clients and it confused them, frankly.
Yeah.
There were people who gave us feedback that we did so much more than social media. Jim, you probably ran into it more than I did even. But
social media guys.
Yeah.
Introduction to social media guys.
Are you guys the Facebook guys? Are you a Twitter guy? What's the story with Social 180? What does that mean? My brother liked to joke that it was a dating site.
Yeah.
And so we got all kinds of interpretations of the name, and just over time it felt like we were outgrowing or evolving out of the name. And so we made a decision pretty early in 2014 that we really needed to consider evolving and changing with our perception of clients and our clients' perception of us. And in that process, we began to dream up what is going to be the new name. We thought of quirky names, we thought of creative names, we thought of very stiff and stodgy names, things that are predictable, and we definitely didn't want to be predictable. I think the thing that we really wanted to capture was who we are and what we do. Mm-hmm. The thing that our clients resonated with from the get-go was when we got really clear on the reason that we exist is to help them get found, communicate, and grow. And what that's done is really given us an anchor point to those brand experiences. So when you think about it, there's definitely the mission of their business, but it's consistently brought back to what their client experiences. So what does the customer of our client experience when they interact? Is it consistent? Are they visible? Yeah. Does it communicate the core values of the company, why they started out to do what they did? And ultimately, are they growing? Are they growing in brand presence? Are they growing in revenue? Are they growing in all the right reasons? Are they maturing as a company? Are they getting better? So there's a lot of ways to kind of interpret and or assimilate that core message of get found, communicate, and grow. But I think it's really resonated with our audience because it's such a guiding principle that keeps it pretty simple, right? Yeah. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the design thought process behind, I know we wrestled back and forth with the XXII and what it means and how we even got there. So why don't you guys talk a little bit about what 22 means and how we got there? Why 22?
Well, 22 came up after just really kind of brainstorming and looking into the idea of a number as a representative of our brand. We knew that the brand components we've talked a little bit about in this, but the 22 was really as we sat back and looked at and kind of prayed about what's the direction of the business and what does that brand need to look like. 22 we found representations around light and strength. And so both of those help us to understand that one, in a lot of cases with our clients, we're helping bring light into the organization and bring light to their brand. And also we tend to be pretty lightweight with our ability to do that. One of the things that's really important for our clients that we talked about is, and it's very important for us, we're all aligned in our purpose here, not just here in our business, but we know why we're here. Mm-hmm. And so we referenced 22 as a biblical reference as well, and we know that there's several references of light in the Bible. There's 22 references to light in the book of John. So those are some of the things that kind of brought us around specifically to the number 22.
Yeah, there's an important personal foundation for that number and what it means to us. From the design perspective, one thing that I've been challenged over the past couple of years is what is a necessity and what is fluff, right? And as people who kind of look at and scrutinize logos and branding concepts and stuff like that, When it comes to making something for ourselves, what represents ourselves the most, or with a clear precision, with a clarity that we haven't been able to really grasp before. The challenge was exactly how do we pare this down to something that it is straightforward, is clear in its mission, but also how it's presented. So the immediate response from all of us as people who want to create the hallmark for what we do as an agency that creates these brand experiences, to put brands in the name, to pair that with 22. But how do we represent 22 other than squiggling a 2-2 or making some kind of funny shape or something like that? Going with the Roman numerals of XXII, representative of 22, it is striking visually, at least to me, and I think I ended up sketching it someday, and I threw it at both of you, and both of you were like, "Wow, we weren't expecting anything like that." And that's not to tout my ability to wow you on a daily basis or your ability to do the same to me, but I think there's something so simple about it without it being simplistic, and that tends to be our approach to a lot of our clients as well, to where exactly what can we approach this to where it can make almost a kind of a striking impact that people don't really necessarily expect right away. And that's something that I tend to try and push and challenge on a little bit. Whether or not that ends up being successful or applicable, I think this is very applicable to us. I think it's representative of our willingness to pare down all the stuff that are somewhat distractions, at least, and what do we really need to say with clarity. And I think that's it.
I love it. I hope that our clients do too. I've gotten really good feedback. Honestly and truly, it probably wasn't my first choice, and I think that's something that our clients wrestle with, is letting go of the creative liberty that's necessary for a designer to do what he does. And it's kind of like a song that you hear for the first time, It may not be your favorite right away, but as you absorb it, you really reflect on it, you think about the things that it means and what it says to you. Over time, you become very connected to it, and it represents something to you. And I feel like that's what's happening with this brand, especially, the longer we go, looking at it and so forth. I know that it becomes a part of who we are, an identity, if you will.
Well, we wrestle with the same thing our clients wrestle with. So we tend to, that's one of the things that allows us to relate so closely to them, is change is inevitable. And if you're going to continue to evolve, brands are going to continue to evolve with it. So that's important that they continue to be refreshed, and you have an open enough mind to say what level of change is necessary. In our case, this level of change was necessary.
Yep. Yeah. And letting the right people do the right things. Yeah. Letting people that are gifted and skilled to do the things that they need to do, so that it's not overly controlled or overly managed. Doesn't mean you don't have some say in it or influence or some sort of need to oversee or inspect the things that you want done. But many times the pitfall of a leader is to micromanage or overly control something that if it doesn't suit them right off the bat, then it's a no-go. And I think that's a big mistake, especially when it comes to brands. We really have to consider who it is, the audience that's going to consume the brand, and what it's going to say to them. Is it striking visually? Does it make sense? Is it clear? It's a lot of what Stephen talked about, and so I think we've hit a home run with this. At least I really hope that our clients think so.
Yep.
Marc Hernandez, Stephen Southlake, and Jim Barker at XXIIBrands. We're going to be making more of these videos on a regular basis, so if you want to see more, head over to XXIIBrands.com/xTalks, and we'll see you there.